Hello, you are listening to the Tiny Vet Podcast with me, Dr. Nicole Su, qualified veterinarian, and my fiance.
Unqualified person.
Unqualified. Well, you have some qualifications.
I've got qualifications, but I'm not very good at being a person. I think we can agree.
He's very bad at being a person. That is true. It's been very clear to us throughout this pandemic. He is. He did not cope.
I've done a bunch of therapy this last year and a half.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot better.
Much better
that's
at being
true,
a person.
Man, it took a lot of doing.
But yes, I have several degrees I no longer use.
A lot of doing. He's a comedian now. And today we're going to be talking about fillers in pet food.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a term that's thrown around a lot, and people are really scared of them. But people also don't know really what they mean.
Well, I have no clue what this is.
Fantastic. So what a filler is an ingredient that isn't added for nutrition. It's added for bulk, or it's added as empty calories to meet some sort of caloric requirement.
Okay, right.
And what a lot of people think that means...
So it's like fats and sugars, or what?
Yeah, kind of. Or... Well, we'll cover that in a second, but what people think it is, they think it's grains.
Okay. So
they think wheat, corn, and soy is a filler, when that's actually not true. Wheat, corn, and soy are actually quite high in a lot of important nutrients.
Okay.
So, for example, wheat, great source of niacin, one of the B group vitamins. Corn, great source of thiamine.
I only know niacin from Nutri-Grain, because that's in Nutri-Grain.
It is in Nutri-Grain, that's correct, but anyway, that's probably where they get it from. Corn, great source of thiamine, another B vitamin. Soy, great source of iron.
Okay.
So these are all actually very nutritious foods, and that's probably why, they've been a staple of the human diet for millennia.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have a great fear of these ingredients.
Soy?
Yeah, soy, corn, and wheat. So
I think people are afraid of wheat because of gluten stuff.
Intolerances.
Yeah.
But it's a really big marketing thing now for grain-free foods. So for pet foods that don't include any grains.
Why?
Because I think it's because of the gluten thing.
Yeah, right.
Where people think it's harmful, but they also
do you know what gluten is? Can you define gluten real quick?
Gluten is a wheat protein.
Okay. Why is it bad?
So it is not bad. It is bad in humans that cannot tolerate digesting this wheat protein. So people with celiac disease. And actually, very few animals are intolerant to plant proteins. Most of the allergies that we see in dogs and cats as well, it's some sort of meat protein. So beef.
Really?
Yeah, beef and chicken are the most common food allergies in dogs.
Huh.
Not plant proteins.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
So gluten's like totally fine for animals.
It's totally fine. Unless your pet actually has a diagnosed gluten intolerance, it's fine.
So there would be some animals that do have that.
Yeah, some animals, but it's a much smaller proportion. A dog is much more likely to be allergic to beef or chicken. Because so it's interesting. Allergies in dogs, it actually forms over exposure, so that they're going to be more likely to be exposed more to beef and chicken proteins, so therefore they're going to develop that sensitivity to it.
So the more you eat something in particular, the more chance you get an allergy to it?
For dogs anyway.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
not
so
cool, but
it's actually it's a big thing now.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, grain-free foods. A lot of times they actually use more fillers than foods that do contain grains.
What are they using as filler?
So tapioca, because it's not a grain.
You love tapioca.
I don't like tapioca.
No, the
bubble tea.
Bubble tea is so stupid. I hate bubble tea.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah, I do like
it's
that.
So dumb.
But actually, bubble tea is really bad for you because tapioca. It's not a grain, but it's got a really terrible nutritional profile. It's basically
just calories, right?
Yeah, it's just a starch. That's all it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So while a lot of grain-free foods go, oh my god, we're so healthy, it's grain-free.
But then they got like loads of tapioca.
Yeah, they use fillers. That's a filler because it's got no nutritional benefit.
What else?
Potato. As well.
That sounds good.
I do prefer
sounds better than tapioca.
Yeah, it's better than tapioca, but that's also another filler.
Yeah,
in grain-free foods that kind of passes under the radar because it's not a grain, but it's still a filler.
Yeah, sure.
And fillers, a lot of people go, those brands that vets recommend, they're full of fillers. Well, no, I think we spoke about in the last episode that meat's actually the first ingredient for the two most common vet-recommended brands, Hills and Royal Canin. But it is really common in cheaper supermarket brands. So Pedigree.
What is the filler or meat?
The fillers.
Okay. Yeah.
So Pedigree is a really common dog food.
Pedigree sounds great.
It's not good at all.
Are you slandering companies?
Yeah, Hills is better than Pedigree, and I think that's actually very supportable. But
Yeah, I think you can say positive things whenever you want.
but the first ingredient in Pedigree, which is a low-cost supermarket brand, is cereal products.
Right.
And the first ingredient in Hills, which is a top-quality pet food brand, is chicken.
Right. Okay.
So what you're concerned about with fillers and all that is actually a lot of grain-free foods, because they use these weird ingredients just because they're not grains, and cheaper brands because obviously grains are more are less expensive to buy,
Right.
and meat meals. So grains are not always filler. They do provide important nutrients, and I think it's probably the fault of a lot of marketing there, where weird pet food companies do market, grain free, it's so healthy, no fillers, but they're actually turning around doing the exact opposite thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like when advertising that cigarettes were good for your health.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, like listen, if anyone's seen Mad Men, sorry, spoiler, but like where it's like it's toasted, right? It's like what we're advertising is not saying it's good.
Yeah.
But we're implying it's good.
Or it's that
so
thing.
by saying, no fillers or whatever, no grains or whatever they say, but by saying no grains, it's like you're like marketing is going like, grains are bad because we're saying we don't have them.
Yeah,
therefore
absolutely.
Therefore it must be good.
Or it's that thing like when potato chips, you can be like low in sugar. Like I mean that's not wrong, but it's also doesn't mean it's healthy for you. It's high in fat.
You have like a lollipop. It's like fat free. It's like yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
sure.
be really careful with that.
All right. So meat good, grains good.
Grains good.
Tapioca bad.
Not so good.
Grain free bad.
Generally bad, yes. And there's even a study going on now.
This has been a recap by a layman.
There's actually a study going on now that is linking grain-free foods to heart disease in dogs. It's not been it's not been proven yet, but the links were really strong, and we're still trying to find out what the actual thing is that's causing the heart disease.
Cool.
So listen to your vet. We actually know a lot about nutrition. Another misconception. Bye. The Tiny Vet Podcast is brought to you by Upilio. Sources for our topics can be found at upilio.io. Outro music by Matt Charleston.